Hello there friends, Ian here. Today we are going to be discussing time, but more specifically finding time to write when you might have a lack of it. We as writers typically have a lot of other things on our plate, causing writing to fall second fiddle to everything else you're trying to do in life, be it a job or a family or anything of the sort. One of my goals is to be able to write consistently, but for a lot of people, that's a lot to try to fit into your schedule. Sometimes after all is said and done, you just feel like you have no time and your time for the day has run out and you just want to go sleep or watch TV and fall asleep. Because that's what a lot of people just feel like doing after a long day of work or school or anything else in their life. That's what we're going to be talking about this week, and with that being said, let's get into it. The first thing you should do when trying to find time to write is prioritize. What a lot of people miss when trying to make time for things is that your priorities may not be set up where you think they should be. Making time for something almost always involves prioritizing your different tasks for the day. So let's say your day consists of work, then you have some free time for video games or reading or writing. So what would be your priority? Work would obviously be your first priority. You need money. But when you get home, what is your next priority? Is it writing, playing video games, reading? Chances are, if you're watching this video, it's writing. So after work, your first priority would be your writing. So then that is what you should work on instead of reading or playing video games, your other two options. Say no to these other things you don't prioritize as highly as writing, because if you don't prioritize writing when you can, then you're never going to get writing done. The next thing you can do to make time for writing is to create some goals. Goals are a very good way to keep yourself motivated to write. This might be a little odd because why would making goals help you make time? Well, goals help motivate you, and motivation helps you to want to do something. So if you're motivated to write, then you'll want to make extra time to write because it's something you love doing. These goals you make can be anything you dream of. However, you should try to keep your expectations realistic with yourself. Keep your goals in mind as you try to fit writing into your schedule and make yourself believe that you will be able to reach your goals. A very good way to make goals are to use SMART goals. And SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. A SMART goal could be writing 100,000 words in a year. And this reaches all the criteria for a SMART goal. 100,000 words are specific. It's also something you can measure each day and keep track of as you go. It's something that is achievable. Many people write over 100,000 words a year. 100,000 words a year is only 8,000 or so words a month. And that is only an average of about 300 words a day. So if you wrote 300 words a day, you would reach 100,000 words by the end of the year. It's relevant to you because it's something you want to do, you love writing, and it's time-bound. You give yourself 1 year to do it. There are, of course, other ways to make goals for yourself, but I think making a SMART goal is probably one of the best options you have. The next thing you could do is to schedule your writing time. If you think you have time to spare, or even if you don't, why don't you try to schedule out your writing time? Make a list or block out times for you to write. around these other things going on in your life. You might find that you have a lot more free time that you could be spending writing, just not writing, because you don't know how much time you have during the day. Now, of course, scheduling your writing time is difficult for a lot of people if you do have a lot going on, but even just trying to stick to a schedule you think you can keep is a good way to keep yourself writing each day. However, during the times you set for writing that you find yourself being able to write, then you want to make sure you are writing. If you aren't writing, then you aren't scheduling your time right. If you schedule writing for 15 minutes after work each day, then try to do that every single day. And make sure you're a little flexible, so if you have a doctor's appointment or something you have to go to right after work, then you can do writing at a different time, but make sure you actually schedule it each day. Schedule writing around everything you have going on for that particular day. But again, just make sure during the time of writing, you are doing writing related activities. It doesn't have to be writing words on a page. It could realistically be just outlining until you're done with the outline, and then you can schedule in your actual writing time. This is, of course, different for everyone. So that's why you should personally go through and schedule things in and follow that schedule so you find yourself writing at some point during the day. The next thing you could do to find time to write is to turn downtime into writing time. What I mean by this is during the day, you likely have downtime, be it your work's lunch break, lunch at school, maybe it's your transit to work or school or wherever you're going for the day. That might be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe it's 30 minutes you find yourself having. But this time can be considered downtime. When you have nothing else of importance going on, you can dedicate that time to writing instead. Any free time you have, you can transition to having writing time for yourself. So we already went over some examples, but say you have free time happening and you have nothing to do but maybe sit around. Maybe you're on break. And then you realize that instead of doing nothing during your break or watching YouTube or playing video games on your phone, why don't you choose to write instead? And this does sort of turn around back to prioritizing, but of course you never really prioritize free time. Unless you just have so much time throughout the day, you are not likely to prioritize your free time. This might sound counterintuitive because free time is break time, right? You can chill for a little bit and stuff. But when you have a busy life or an unpredictable life, sometimes you do have to make the sacrifices of taking less free time and doing more of what you love. Turn your habits that leave you less productive and make yourself more productive with these things. You may only have 15 minutes, like I mentioned before, but any writing time is good writing time. Like I said earlier when we were talking about goals, the next thing you should do when trying to make time to write is to be realistic with yourself. Don't try to push yourself to do something you cannot do. Otherwise, you will just start frustrating yourself. Once frustration kicks in, you might not want to be doing things that you think you want to be doing at some point. You might end up burning yourself out or reaching the dreaded writer's block. Being realistic with yourself does not only have to do with your goals, but being realistic with your abilities. If you think about it, can you actually write 100,000 words in a year? If yes, then you're being realistic with yourself. However, if you think you can only write 80,000 words a year, then don't force yourself to try to write over that to a higher goal. Don't force your body into staying up late because you want to write. If that takes a toll on you for the next day, you need to be realistic and think maybe staying up late to write is not the best thing for me, and figure out a different way to fit your writing in. The next and probably best thing to do when trying to find time to write is to stop procrastinating and be disciplined. This kind of ties everything we talked about earlier together, because if you do all these previous steps, but you still procrastinate or fail in some sort of disciplinary way, then you realistically will never get anything done. It doesn't have to be writing, but if you're not disciplined and if you don't stop procrastinating, you just won't find time to write. Procrastinating is the biggest enemy of any creative person. Ignore your YouTube or your video games or any of these other things that help you to procrastinate, and just write. Force yourself to be disciplined and actually do what you set yourself out to do. Don't just focus on things that aren't as important. And things are important to you, and everyone has other things that are important to them. Like, don't sacrifice your family over this. Try to work yourself around family, but if you can't, just let them know what this really means to you. Because for all you know, your family might not understand and think you're just slacking off or doing other things. But you might be writing instead. And by doing this, you're not procrastinating. You're not forgetting your family. You're just being able to be disciplined and do what it is you want to do. Most of the time, your family or friends will realize this and understand and help push you along. If you only remember one thing from this video, then try to take this away. If you stop procrastinating and make yourself disciplined or work on getting disciplined, then you will find a lot more time to write and you will get more done. In 15 minutes, you can get 100, 200, 300, depending on how fast you go, however many words in those 15 minutes. And if you have multiple 15-minute points throughout the day where you're disciplined and write, then you will get a lot more writing done than you ever thought possible. This is something I'm still struggling with, and I'm sure a lot of others are also struggling with. It's just one of those things that you have to work into your system. You have to learn it. This is the most important skill in your life for more than just writing, but especially for your creative things, including writing. And that's it. Those are ways that you can make time for writing, even on a dwindling time schedule. Remember that finding time to write more is something you can do, and everyone believes that you can. If someone doesn't believe you can, well, don't listen to them. They don't know you and your work ethic. Just know that you can do it, and I'll be here to help push you along the way. Comment below if there's anything extra you need to do to find time to write, and how I can improve these videos for you in the future. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, as I post videos like this every Sunday. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next week. Bye!